Hello, this is the second of the series of two videos for the principals and teachers in the Diocese of Kansas City, St. Joseph. This is a segment on planning for circles and working with students. As you remember, just a brief overview, we always open with the prayer, and I included it here, the Colossians prayer, which is standard for our VBRD schools. And remember that just quickly review that you begin with a prayer, you have a one-word check-in, you introduce your topic or your question, and then you have a one-word checkout and your closing prayer. We had a first practice circle of getting to know you. The person sitting in the chair had the talking piece, and these we go over these, beginning with the prayer, the check-in, introducing the topic and your name. So these are real simple things you can do with students. You can change the topic, maybe your favorite pizza topping or your favorite flavor of ice cream, or what did you do over the weekend, or what are you hoping to do? And then we want to be sure that with students, we're setting norms. So always starting in the same way with the prayer, but the topic are what can we expect from one another during our time here? And this is something that you can keep as an ongoing list. You want to continue this process so that everyone recognizes the expectations of the circle. And then the bombardment circle, which is really got so many positive ways you can use this to think about topics that might need addressing. You know, what's a better way for us to work with kickball on the playground? And just having people just come up with ideas. And when we talk about bombardment, if a student is having a question or a concern or an issue, and other students are contributing, it has to be try this, try this, try this. So many times we spend a lot of time apologizing or explaining why we're giving what we're the advice that we're giving or the suggestion, but you don't need to do that. Just make it very quick, very quick. And then especially when we're looking for every obstacle, this is the problem with what we have. So if a student comes up with so many obstacles, then what happens is that we have to talk about at least two solutions for those obstacles. So if a student says, I just can't do this, or I'm really having trouble with this. And I think it's always helpful to even talk about those obstacles before you get started so that everybody can talk about an obstacle with a solution as part of that, because that way it eliminates the negativity, and negativity is never restorative. So you always want to remember to be restorative. So these are different kinds of things that you can talk about in relation to this exercise here. I want you to think about and brainstorm all of the negative aspects of obstacles of having circles and succeeding at circles. Well, I don't feel comfortable with it, or the students are going to think it's dumb, or their answers are going to just be, they're only going to mimic one another, or everybody's going to want to pass. So, in other words, you as a staff need to take the time within a bombardment circle where you will actually list as a staff all the obstacles, all the reasons why these will fail or we shouldn't do them. And I want you to have that list on one side of the board. On the opposite side of the board, I want you to start strategizing for all the obstacles for overcoming those. That's really a key piece of successful circles. Don't allow yourself to accept failure as an option. So when we're planning, you want to, number one, brainstorm topics for having staff circles for the next few months. You want to be able to start to create a storehouse. So you'll brainstorm topics, and then as you progress with these, use the circle planner handout, which I'll share with you in just a second, and it will be available to you as well in the Moodle. The circle planner handout to begin planning for circles with students. So as you do this, then after your group finishes brainstorming, you'll select one idea to plan for your own circle. But ultimately, what you want to do is have every person plan for maybe as many circles as possible, and thinking about how we can actually flesh these out so that they become really good options for things that we can do in circles. So let me switch real quickly my screen and we'll come up with the circle planner. Hold on. Let's see. And here's the circle planner right here in front of me. And it's right here. So there we have the circle planner. And what you'll do in your groups, brainstorm topics for circles and identify the target group it would serve. So you can see the sample I have here. Recess games might be a topic. The target group would be Mr. Gaines's fourth grade class. So you can have big, small topics, big thinking topics or small ones. And then you want to make sure you're selecting a target group. Now, I want you to notice also what kind of a circle will you have with this? Will it be a sequential, a non-sequential, or a fishbowl? But I also want you to think of a multitude of target groups. So do you want third grade parents? Do you want all school parents? Do you want the school board? Do you want parish council? Do you want the community? Do you want staff circles? So think about things that would be relative, what kinds of topics would be available. And as you begin your library, you'll find this is a great resource that you're developing for your school. So take time with this. I would say give yourself at least 20 minutes to really flesh this out. And then list questions that you'll ask. Use open-ended questions and have general questions that lead to a more narrow focus. You want to imagine a pyramid where you're starting broad and going narrow. Your questions are open-ended, that your questions are really provocative. They really provoke thought and discussion, and any other notes that you want. Also, then now, once you get your topics, each of you select one circle. So you'll have one topic and what's the virtue that goes with that? What's the target group? What type of circle? Sequential means everybody in the circle goes around and gives a response. Non-sequential means your talking piece may be in the center and people can pick it up as they're ready to speak, but not everyone is required to give input. And then there's the fishbowl where you have a few people in the center talking and other people around the periphery of the circle as observers and maybe jumping into an empty seat to give a suggestion or ask a question for clarification. And who will facilitate this circle? Remember to share the responsibility of facilitating circles. Students make great facilitators. So start to train your older students to co-facilitate with you. You'll have your opening prayer. You'll see this planner gives you all the information you need. You'll need your opening prayer. What will that be? Your check-in. What will that be? What kind of a question will you ask? And then this is for your topics. I generally think about 4 questions per circle is adequate, depending on the size of the group. And then you have your checkout and your closing prayer and any other notes you want to add. So you just imagine that you would have, by the end of your staff meeting today, working with this, you might have as many as 20 or 30 circles planned for different audiences. I think it's important to always think restoratively, what is the best possible outcome that can result from this time that we have together. So what is it you want to do? Do you want to inform parents about restorative work that you're doing? Do you want students to talk about some important issues that they're facing? And don't forget to get their input into what kinds of things they'd like to know as well, what they would like to talk about. So this planner is really helpful to you. I hope you'll agree. And as we go back to our PowerPoint and wrap up today, just want to remind you that you certainly are welcome to contact me, reach out to me at any time. It's been a pleasure working with you. And be sure and follow up on our website, Restoration Matters, for more information, more training opportunities, and to contact us for anything. Thank you so much. It's been great working with you. Enjoy.